Okay, we're here interviewing Bobby Chan from the Central London Law Centre, and Bobby Chan is one of the organisers of today's event. Bobby, do you mind telling us why you're holding this event here today?
For the last 8 weeks, the Home Office have almost weekly come into Chinatown to raid Chinatown, so-called looking for illegal immigrants. We actually think that this is a fishing raid by the Home Office, illegal. And during those raids, we have issues of raised statement from the Home Office. We have theft of £1,000. We have actually also find out that the incompetence of the Home Office by actually raiding the restaurant, then finding out it's the wrong address. And so, people in Chinatown are very angry. You need to actually understand that, Chinese have been stereotyped to be quite a docile. You really seriously need to do a lot of things to force the Chinese community to actually take action.
The Home Office, between 3 to 5 o'clock, Chinatown will unite and show our solidarity against the Home Office in the discriminative fishing raid. The first restaurant in Chinatown that's leading the shutdown have already started the protest at Golden Pagoda. And in the next 10 minutes, other shops in Chinatown will follow the example, and they will all come out and protest. Chinatown will shut down from 3 o'clock, and I hope you will join us and cover this event and let people know about our protest. Thank you.
Finally, what do you hope to get from the shutdown today?
Well, we actually first and foremost want to focus on the issues of fishing raid, illegal raiding of Chinatown. Now, funny enough, yesterday we have the top-ranking immigration officer who is in charge of this area suddenly actually turn up in Chinatown talking to us and actually agree to actually meet us on the 8th of November. Okay. In the meantime, he promised that there will be no further fishing raids in Chinatown until the 8th of November, when we can actually meet and actually look at the kind of complaints that we have. Secondly, we actually also want a genuine dialogue with the UKBA, looking at the issues of shortage of catering trade, and also the issues of unauthorized workers here. These people have been here for a very long period of time. Unfortunately, they cannot send them back. We are arguing that they should be given some sort of temporary work permit so that they can actually survive and not being forced into illegal criminal activities.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that, Bobby Chan.
They take the staff away, and the people with the political asylum seekers here, they lay out in a few hours. The situation is Chinatown has got about 50 years history in London. We're here to stay. We're telling UKBA, you have to listen to us. You have to integrate with us. We have to speak to you. You have to listen to us, and we have to sort this problem out, because this is not going to go away. You cannot keep on raiding Chinatown. We are an easy target. We're here to stay, and we're telling you, if you don't engage with us, we will strike until no one comes to Chinatown, okay? What we know about the authorities in this country is that they have in the past attacked communities up and down the country. Today is the turn of the community in Chinatown. But we need to show all of us, whether we are from this community or from others, is that we are not prepared to take this line down. That we will oppose these fishing raids. That we will take whatever action is necessary. Whatever action is necessary against what are illegal, unlawful, unprofessional misconduct by those who are coming to Chinatown, trying to tarnish the whole community in one go. Ni hao. Look around you. Every restaurant here is closed. Every single shop has expressed its concern and solidarity for the LCCA and the business community because of these fishing raids. Today, the Chinese community should be proud of itself for making this history. It's a history that we will remember for a long time.
Let me make it very clear, UKBA fishing raids are not welcome in this community and all the communities in the UK. UKBA fishing raids are bad for the community relations. UKBA fishing raids are not legal. UKBA fishing raids are a trespassing act when you do not have the proper documents of a warrant or a letter of authority or a consent from the manager of the premises, whether it's a home or a business premise. You cannot simply just enter and bully the people inside on the pretext of doing official work. So there you are, we have spoken today. What we want from the UKBA is a dialogue with us at the same time. So please remember, UKBA fishing raids are not welcome at all. UKBA fishing raids are an illegal act, and UKBA fishing raids are an act of trespass on our property. Thank you.
My name's Stafford Scott. I hail from a place called Broadwater Farm. I come from Tottenham. I was born in this country, so really I shouldn't understand anything about the UKBA raids. But being born black in this country, I was always treated as if I didn't have a right to be here. This is the way that they treat people after they've brought us here, used us to do their work, and then they want to get rid of us from this country. I come today to offer you solidarity with the black community of Tottenham. Your struggle is our struggle. Our struggle is your struggle. Our enemy are those who want to treat us as if we have no right to be here in this country. The thing that gets me about what they're doing to the Chinese community is whilst they're here treating people so disrespectfully, treating people without any kind of respect and treating people unprofessionally, they're going to China and they're telling the Chinese that they want the Chinese money. I think Chinese people should write to your government and tell your government, don't let them fool you. They want your money, but they're not going to treat you with no respect. Don't give them the money. Close down your shops. Let them eat fish and chips. Let them give you the respect you deserve. I come to give you support. Power to the people.
Thank you, Dave. I only wanted to say two things very quickly about the significance of what we're doing here today. I think the first of those is that I think what is happening in our society and what's shameful about what the Home Office is doing is that they are making border policing part and moving it to the centre of our society and how it works. And that is damaging our society and dividing our society. So in a way, I think what we've seen with the raids in Chinatown connects to the texts that people are being sent to go home when they're British citizens, the vans that are driving through our communities, there are provocations to the multicultural reality of what London is. So my second thing I want to say to you, which I think is important, this is an attack on the Chinese community and on Chinatown, but it is also an affront to all Londoners and the greatness of this city. So I think we need to blow the whistle on what the Home Office is doing and say this far and not further.
Be more compassionate, be fair, please ask your MP to send the UKBA away, let them do more important work, monitoring our borders. There's so much more illegal work from trafficking. Do not prey on us. Thank you.
African and African Caribbean communities suffer the same sort of raids as those restaurants do in Chinatown? Why is it that UKBA is targeting Chinese restaurants, African restaurants, Caribbean restaurants, Bangladeshi restaurants, Indian restaurants? And yet we know the biggest overstayers in the United Kingdom are white Australians and people from New Zealanders. Why don't they raid those restaurants instead of tackling minority communities? So we're here today to say that immigrants are here to stay, here to fight. And this morning we're trying to pass this immigration bill. This immigration bill that will bring back the days of no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. That's what we've been campaigning about. And so today we stand in solidarity with the Chinese community. And in relation to the government's proposals to target minority communities with their racist legislation, we say this.
With me now is Suresh Grover, the director of the monitoring group. Mr. Grover himself has received one of these texts from the UKBA talking about your own position here in this country, haven't you, sir?
Yes, I received a text in August which said that I may be in this country unlawfully and I should ring up the UKBA border agency. And I did that, and they confirmed it was my name and my mobile number. And I asked them a number of personal questions why they'd send it to me. I've been in this country since 1966. I've never had an immigration problem. I've been a British citizen all my life. The lady refused to answer a number of questions when I rang them, and she wanted more personal information. I then wrote to them, and they confirmed that it may have been an error, but they won't apologize. But they also told me that they'd made something like 39,000 calls and they'd had 200 complaints. So I think we're living in a world which is quite surreal and Orwellian, where texts are being sent to individuals who have every right to stay in this country, and there is a fierce process and an initiative by the immigration authorities to force and target individuals they think are illegally in this country, and the way they are doing it is just undemocratic. It goes against all the human rights issues about people having the right of privacy. They didn't even check whether I was a British citizen, and I just wonder how many other people have got this stuff.
So do you link what happened to you similarly as the Chinese community have told us today with fishing expeditions by UKBA? Are they just casting the net really widely?
I think they are casting the net so widely that the raids in Chinatown over the last 6 weeks have resulted in 13 raids taking place. Some of the restaurants haven't even resulted in any arrests. In fact, all the evidence suggests that immigration officers, when they're enforcing the raids, have been rude, they've been racist, they've been heavy-handed. A complaint has been put to the border agency on 8th of October. We've yet to hear from them. They haven't even replied to it. I think people have to ask themselves, why is it that a community which thrives in business is going to shut down for a whole day or half a day? Business people do not normally close their shops. And this is the center, international hub of business in Chinatown. So they're making a huge sacrifice. And the raids have angered them, and they need answers to their desperate questions.
A final question, you just touched on it. We're talking about Chinese businessmen here, and we've been seeing all week David Cameron and Osborne in China talking to the Chinese about making it easier for Chinese people to come here and seeking Chinese investment. So do you see a contradiction in the behaviours that they're carrying out on Chinese people in London and what they're the messages that they're carrying to China itself?
Absolutely. I think David Cameron and George Osborne need to reflect on how the Chinese community have been treated in this country. They are seen as an invisible community which doesn't require public services. They're seen as a Chinese community that doesn't warrant human rights, and they're not seen as part of the British society. They're seen as an invisible community. Actually, far from truth. Of course, the Chinese community is quite small, but it's the third largest BME community, which amasses a huge financial contribution to British economy.
And they're hardly invisible, as we can see from standing here in the middle of Chinatown.
And I think it's such a hypocrisy for this British government to go to China and ask for businesses when their own citizens who are Chinese are not treated fairly and equally.
Do you think it may be just a case that they're in China chasing the money rather than chasing the people?
I think they want investment, they want growth, they realize that China is a massive economic power, but they also have to reflect on the affluence and struggles of rights of Chinese people in this country. And all the reports by academics, by Chinese organizations themselves, show that the Chinese community doesn't want to be invisibilized. It's part of British society, and they are part of a black community generally, and they should be treated like that.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. So, help us out here, because on the one hand, we're seeing David Cameron in China talking to the Chinese government and talking to the Chinese community about making it easier for Chinese people to come to England, whilst on the same hand, you're now telling us that they're harassing, illegally and unlawfully harassing the Chinese community here. What do you make of that?
I mean, unfortunately, China is now an economically very strong country, and unfortunately, the British government is forced to actually go to China to actually seek investment and things like this. But that is not to say that they do not actually look down on the Chinese community. To some extent, the way that we were treated, there are people who actually propose that we should write to the Chinese government to actually say, look at how they actually treat the local community, the Chinese community, and they should really seriously think about the type of investment that we should put forward.
Sounds like a good idea to me, my friend. Are you considering doing that?
We will be. We'll be discussing with people in Chinatown, and then probably a letter of some sort to the Chinese embassy to actually reflect our anger